Welcome, everyone. We'll call this board meeting to session. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Welcome, everybody. We'll get started with our student update from ASB President Paige Squires.
Hello, everyone. As always, we're going to start with academics. We are officially over halfway through the first trimester, which is so exciting. Grades are now more indicative of where students are at this point, and students are just continuing to use their resources more and more, such as the 3 flex periods a week and just frequent communication with their teachers. We are also seeing some new artwork from our students in their art classes, starting to go up on the walls. It's always one of my favorite times. Our first floor on our mountain wing is always decked out with interior design, ceramics, 2D art, photography. It's really exciting to see going up. With that, we also have good update for the arts. Hadestown performances are beginning November 8th, as well as the 9th, and then continuing through the weekend of the 13th through the 15th. The Drama 2 performances are also on the 23rd and 24th of October. They are 2 one-act shows completely casted with Drama 2 students. Both are comedies and a great watch. Please go to bowmantheater.com to get your tickets. The first band competition was this weekend on the 11th. It went really well with them placing first overall, which is so exciting and a great start to their competition season. Choir and MXD have been working hard to prepare for their first performances. As I mentioned at our last meeting, choir's first performance is their winter concert on December 9th, which also includes our Mixolydians, who have their first competition January 30th. As far as activities go, we had our suicide awareness dinner night out at Mod. That raised over $800, one of our most successful dinner nights yet, which is so exciting to see. Really great show out from our community. We also have Bowman Pageant Prep officially beginning. Our kickoff tour at Dornbeckers is coming up, and we're starting to plan that so that we are able to learn more about the cause that our donations are supporting as a student council and as a school. Homecoming was a really big success. Everyone that I've talked to had a great time. We had some cool new photo booth features, including a little glam bot, that had a really long line. Long wait for that one. The blood drive was a success. We had 74 donations, each one saving 3 lives. This is well above average for high school blood drives in the area, which tend to get around 50 blood drives, as what our Red Cross staff told us. So really great show out with that. Next week is also our Cancer Awareness Week. Donations from that are going to help support Weston, a Sherwood Elementary School student with acute lymphoblastic leukemia. We also have a performance coming up from our dance team and staff members, including Mr. Mitchell. They're working on a dance that will be performed at an assembly, as well as dances SHS Best Dance Crew Show, where different groups around Sherwood High School will compete to be crowned the best dance crew at Sherwood. We also have a campus cleanup coming up this Wednesday, which all students are welcome to attend and get service hours from. Really great new opportunity for our students and to improve the school around us. Our athletics have continued having a great start. Football won against Glencoe in a great game with our winning field goal getting made less than a minute on the clock, as well as a big win against Century this past Friday. Soccer's been doing great. Girls and boys had a great first league games, with them both winning their league games. For girls and boys have tied their most recent game and won against their game with Newburgh. Cross country's been hard at work. They performed really well at a large regional meetup in Seattle against over 40 teams, as well as continuing their great performance locally. Volleyball's also continued a great start, winning both matches last week, with hopes of earning a league title, with all fall sports looking great as far as making it to playoffs. Now, Mixolydians, our high school a cappella team, is here to perform for us. Their director, Mrs. Chuckrow, is going to introduce them before they perform the song Issues for us. And then, Mixolydians, could you please stay up after finishing your performance so the school board can ask you a few questions?
Good evening. Thank you so much for inviting us tonight. We're so honored to be here. This is the Sherwood High School Mixolydians, and it's such a fun extension of our choir program featuring pop a cappella genre and during our competitions also with choreography. And tonight you may hear from some of the seniors as they share a little bit about their experience, I think after we sing the song. I'm really excited for that. One of our favorite times is before one of our competitions. We have yearly competed in the International Championships for High School A Cappella. This group has been a group officially, Mixolydians, since for 13 years now. And one of our favorite traditions is before the ICHSA performance, we like to gather backstage and stand in a circle and try not to cry, but the seniors get to share about their experience in the group. And it's always just such a rewarding and wonderful time for all of us. So I'm excited for you to get to hear a little bit from the seniors about how important music and this group are to each other. But yes, without further ado, here is a love song by Pentatonics called Issues, featuring Finley and Madison on solos.
Two, three, four. Boom, 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 boom.
I'm jealous, I'm overzealous. When I'm down, I get real down. When I'm high, I don't come down. And I get baby, believe me. I can love you just like that. I can leave just as fast. But you don't judge me. You did, baby. Don't you too? You don't. You did, baby. Don't you too? 'Cause I got issues, you too. So just one more thing you disturb on purpose. Get mad for it's like you too, 'cause I got issues. You too, I got issues. I got issues.
Hi, I'm Sophie. I'm one of the seniors. I've been really lucky. I've got to be in MXC since my freshman year, and one thing I've loved about it is like getting to grow with each of the groups, and there's like a big family aspect that comes with it, and I'm really gonna miss that. Okay, I'm Finley. I've been in the group for 2 years now, and my favorite thing that we've done last year was competing in Rose City Sing Off, and I just love like building my musical like love with this group. It's really fun. I'm Hope, and this is my 3rd year in the group, and I'm just really grateful for all the people that I've met and all the connections that I've made, because I've just made a lot of really great friendships in this group, and I'm incredibly grateful for that.
Hi, I'm Kaylin. This is my 3rd year in the group, and I just really love how
MXD and choir is always like a constant safe space, no matter like how stressful other classes are or like whatever's going on outside of school. Hi, I'm Taylor. This is my first year in MXD, but I've been singing all my life, and all the choirs at Sherwood just give me a great sense of community.
Hello, I'm Nathan, and this is this is my first year in MXD, and I am super excited to meet new people and grow in this community. I've been in it since my freshman year, and it's been a joy.
I'm Izzy. This is my first year in MXD, and it's just been a huge honor and a pleasure to be a part of this group. I was kind of nervous at first because I'm not really a pop singer. I've been involved in musical theater all my life, but it is like such a great opportunity for me to broaden my singing abilities and to do it with this great, welcoming, accepting group of people. These are just the best people to do it with, and it's so much fun.
Well, thank you so much. That was amazing. No issues here. I think we have some questions.
I have questions. You guys sound incredible, by the way. I thought your parents must be out there like crying listening to you guys because you sound amazing. First of all, how long does it take you guys to learn that? What? Are you serious? And then this has to be like a cut group, right? Like you have to audition for this, and yeah, they're like, obviously. You guys are incredible. I would love to get to come and watch one of your competitions. Thank you for coming. I know it's really hard to get you here. You what? Oh, I want to come. Like, what's the date? Where do we come? Thank you guys for being here.
Hey, MXD just,
Can I ask one
yeah,
more
there's,
question?
hold on, sorry, you got like a major fan up here.
That was incredible. This was my first time hearing the Mixolydians, and it was great to finally be able to hear what you all are all about. I have a new board member question. What's the origin of the name Mixolydians? Does anybody know?
The music scale that makes Lydian mode.
Yeah,
Oh.
Oh, I'm so dumb.
Oh.
Mode, and actually Patrick Shuckero came up with it.
Of course,
Oh.
Yes.
Well, that is an incredibly appropriate name. Great job.
Hey, on behalf of just our team, I know how much work you put into it. I know how much fun you have with it, and so thank you for bringing that joy for yourselves, but also others. And when you're in the middle of working hard on it, know that I know so many people look forward to hearing you, but also just your spirit that you bring about it. It's been fun to watch you grow, and I'm looking forward to just seeing you more and more this year. So congrats, MXD.
Yeah.
And one more. As a parent of one of the Nixie Ds, I would like to thank Katie Shuckero. She's amazing working with all the people that she works with in choir and in this group. This group is just an add-on for her, and her commitment is really incredible. So if any young members, board members have younger children, Mixolydians is a real accomplishment. It is a 0 period, so we get up pretty early. And mine has never complained, okay, to be there. Never, 0, complained to be there at 7:20 or whatever time it is. So thank you very much.
You are free to leave. We don't expect you to sit through the whole meeting, so.
But you have to come back.
Yeah, but you just have to perform next year is all. Thank you.
We're free booking. We get a holiday concert.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're gonna move right along to our superintendent's update with Dr. Aaron Downs.
Yeah, thank you. You know, as we continue with the theme of being a fan, I am appreciative that they made time tonight. That group in particular, Director Mueller, you may know this. They get asked to do a lot and they say yes a lot. And we are appreciative. We got them at the very early part of their year. But if you had a calendar of their calendar, if you had a picture of that, it's intense, and they do get a kind of robust experience. And so I am appreciative, and a big thank you to Kathy Shuckero and her hard work, but also just the whole team and up at the high school. It's just awesome that they get to participate. I know we have one of the favorite things that I got to experience with them last year was when they went to the middle school, and I was standing next to a young man who was like leaned into a friend. He doesn't know who I am, and I'm standing there, and he just said, "I want to be a part of that." And that's what that like part is when they go and they sing for others, and they hopefully inspire and have a spark. So I love that. A couple things tonight that I wanted to highlight and be a fan on over the last month, since last time we had a chance to connect. I had an opportunity to be a part of our back to school nights, and it's wonderful to see the teachers and the schools and the communities come together, and the parents and the guardians have been amazing in their support and showing up. One highlight I want to share with you was a second grader at Ridges that her mother was being polite and saying hi to a few other moms on their pack, and she said, "Mom, I've got to go show you where I learned." And it was really cool. She dragged her mom away. She's like, we need to keep moving here. We've also had a great turnout and experience with our high school conferences. So thank you again to parents and students and teachers for that, and our staff. Also had an opportunity to be a part of, I went to all 4 of the fun runs, and the weather was amazing, which was a big deal. Always greatly impressed by the generosity and the engagement by our staff, or by our parents and community to support those fun runs. Truly is one of those memory makers for kids. And I think for parents and grandparents and others who go support, it's a great memory. Just a lot of support. The kids just get super excited. I think there's a little bit of a challenge once they go back into the classroom and they have the rest of their day, but they really nailed it this year, and all 4 of them had a wonderful experience. Takes a lot of coordination, so I want to say thank you to those who put those on and coordinated that. Those are those memories that we love to make for our kids. Since last time, I also had the opportunity to go with principals one-on-one through all their into their schools and get into multiple classrooms with them, and that's just a joy and a highlight. That's why I do this work. I love being in I miss the classroom, and so it's fun to be in their spaces and to hear directly from principals about their start of their year. And so I'm going to continue to do that with them throughout the year. That's a new twist for me this year. It's just more of a one-on-one basis, and we'll get in to see classrooms and teachers in different spaces. I love being a part of a community where I feel like I can get to every classroom learning space this year, like with the principal's help and support. And I just love that size of our district. Wonderful homecoming, as you heard Paige talk about. What homecoming was about was actually just about that, about the community coming together. And yeah, they happened to play a really good football game that night. And but it is about the community that come together. I know that many of us had an opportunity. Our entire team was there and was supportive. I loved the parade. We had, for the first time ever, kind of a big school-wide support and participation in it, led by Amanda Hollenberg, our HR director. She spearheaded this, and she grabbed people. I think if you lived anywhere within like a 6-block radius of her and you had a kid, there's probably a good chance you were going to end up in the parade and not on the bus. And so for the first time, we had a bus with kids, and just being a part of the parade. And it's already growing for next year. So just warning you, so the board members will be invited as well. And it was great. I had an opportunity to actually ride with your daughter, and that she was in the back of ours. And my job is to only make sure they had enough candy throughout the whole time to throw. So Also, another highlight since last month, this was not ours, but it was our students were participating, was the celebration of the bridge opening. Our marching band and our band had a wonderful late night the night before, and then turned around and were up bright early and celebrated with the city of Sherwood for the wonderful opening of the pedestrian bridge, where our students have had great experience with so far, and we're just greatly appreciative of that. And it was so fun to see the band just be able to walk across and play and celebrate with everyone. So that was a really cool experience. Unintended outcome of, maybe the bridge was, it was also the scene of some homecoming invitations. So that was kind of, more romantic than they probably drew up. And so they were trying to get the lighting just right. And as long as we can get Principal Mitchell to be happy with that lighting, we're good. So as we think about just between now and, the next several weeks, I'm just really impressed by, all of our students pre-K through 12 and beyond, just in the amount of co-curricular things they're involved in. And maybe their families have them involved in as they're little, and as they grow older that they get more choice in. But I looked at this the other day, and in the city of Sherwood and beyond, and in our middle and high schools where we provide more to, it's a very, very comprehensive opportunities. Now, it's not perfect. We always want to keep adding on, and we get more and more clubs coming in. We get more and more opportunities for students, across the system. But I just love it because I do believe strongly that the co-curricular part of their day for some of our kids makes the rest of their day go. And so that was it. Look forward to talking to you about it next month too.
Thank you. All right, we'll move on to board updates. We have 2 updates, I believe, tonight from Director Mullen and Director Kaufman.
Thank you, Harmony. I think Paige covered most of the sports stuff, but sports teams get out there. The weather's been great, and any support is appreciated. They're doing great in spite of a lot of injuries, and all the little club players are out there too. So it's really a community event. It's really fun to see all the teams. And the only comment I had was a blood drive, just to push that. They're going to do a second one. They're so good at it this year that the word is there'll be one in the spring. And it was very successful. I really enjoyed it. It's so well run compared to the other drives that are around. They're all great as well. But this one is really special, with every student sitting with a person, talking to them, engaging with them. It really was a show of our leadership classes participating, engaging, not shy, walking people through it. It was really impressive. I hung around for a little while to watch it because I couldn't quite believe it. So pretty spectacular blood drive. Thank you for that.
And I just wanted to say a quick thank you to the community. We got a lot of feedback as a board this week, and people were really good at keeping us informed about what was going on with them and in the community, and were really constructive in how they let us know about their experiences and ways that we can consider and improve. So I just wanted to let people know that it's appreciated.
Okay, moving on to our consent agenda. Do I have a motion to pass?
Go ahead. I motion to pass the consent agenda.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I second the motion.
Wonderful. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Okay, moving on to public comment. We actually do have 2 public comments tonight. I had to dust off the old rules because it's been a while. First up, we have Dale House. I just want to remind the audience that each speaker has 3 minutes. The board does not respond to public comment, and that we ask that the audience doesn't cheer, clap, or respond to any public comment. And that is it. So come on up.
This probably feels a little deja vu for most of you, but every October I'm here. I think this is my 5th one, besides the ones that were just read during COVID. So October, my name is Dale House, for the record, I guess. But my every October, it's Dyslexia Awareness Month. So I'm here again, reminding you all that I care about students with dyslexia, especially within our district. Every year I contemplate what I can say to make an impression on someone that will spark an interest within the district, some impressive statistic or sad story that would inspire a champion from within to make necessary changes. I've tried all this before. I think some of it's maybe worked sometimes, but not very often. So this year, I'm just going to present an update for you to think about how we can do better in our district for these kids who specifically struggle with dyslexia. First, we need to remember that the skill of reading is foundational to nearly all school subjects. Not being able to read in school significantly impacts a child academically, socially, and emotionally. We are familiar with the academic consequences of not being able to read, but the social and emotional toll can be even greater. Lower self-esteem, social isolation, emotional distress, behavioral issues. These are all things that come with dyslexia because reading is so foundational to their education. As many of you already know, 1 in 5 people are dyslexic. Dyslexic brains process information differently. This results in strengths like critical thinking, creativity, and communication skills, all of which the world needs more of. It also results in challenges with reading, writing, spelling, rote learning, memory, and concentration. Each dyslexic has a different pattern of strengths and challenges, making it even more challenging to teach. Identification of these is the key to the success of each dyslexic in both education and future employment. 4 out of 5 dyslexics attribute dyslexic thinking to their successes in life. Research is telling us that dyslexic thinking skills are vital for our future. Let me name a few dyslexic thinkers: Richard Branson, Steven Spielberg, Pablo Picasso, Albert Einstein, Steve Jobs. All terrible students in school. I remind my son often that dyslexia is his superpower and that it is only a challenge within the walls of public schools. My son Tyler is currently a freshman at Edison High School. Why did we choose to send him to Edison? Let me tell you. Edison's work is powerful and profound, helping every student to reach their full potential. So simple and so needed for kids like my son with a learning difference. Edison High School offers individualized support that meets each student's unique needs and maximizes their ability to learn. They also provide emotional support that builds confidence and maturity. By empowering students with learning differences to experience academic success and personal growth, Edison does more than prepare teens for the future, it changes lives. We have seen this firsthand in the students and families we have met so far on our Edison journey. I would encourage all of you here to Google search Edison High School and gain inspiration on what we could do differently here in the Sherwood School District for kids like Tyler. There is an implicit agreement, a sort of sacred bond between families and schools. It goes something like this. I promise to get my child to school. They have slept well. They are dressed. They ate a protein-filled breakfast with fresh everything. We sang songs on our way to school, and when I drop them off to you, the school, you will keep them safe and you will teach them to read. As always, knowledge is power. So when we know better, we do better. Thanks for listening.
Thank you for that. And then next up, we have Angie Allred.
Hi, thanks for having me. I'm going to read my comments to keep myself on track for time. I have had children in Sherwood School District for 12 years, and my youngest is currently a freshman at SHS. I appreciate all that you do for the students. I know that students and their well-being are top priorities for you. I especially love the new cell phone policy, so thank you for that. I appreciate that Patrick called me today as well. I know that the intentions are good, and I just want to talk about a couple of concerns I have and a suggestion that I have for the new grading policy. First, my concerns. One, it's confusing for students and parents and teachers. My husband and I both have graduate degrees. I think it's fair to say that we have at least average intelligence, and we both have really struggled to wrap our minds around the new system. At parent-teacher conferences, I think that the teachers who are wonderful have some of that going on too. I think the confusion is a serious problem because it takes away from learning the material because you're learning a grading system. It's seriously stressful. This group of kids already had their academic and social lives upended by COVID. Why are we again experimenting with them and adding extra stress to their lives? Sherwood is not a closed system. There's no Sherwood University or community college. They'll likely attend colleges using percentage-based grading systems, as my older children do. even if the current students, teachers, and parents figure out the new system, each new student and each new teacher moving in will have to learn the new system and go through the same thing. My second major concern is that a 4-point scale does not allow as much room to show improvement as a 100-point scale, which a percentage-based system. In a grading system with only 4 possible scores, a student has to get 25% better before the grade they see throughout the trimester reflects their growth. A 100-point scale makes it easier for a student to see when they have made incremental improvements. How discouraging is it that a student who has improved 10% from their last assessment has to get 25% better before they can see their improvement reflected in their score? So a possible solution to consider, I think rubrics are wonderful. They're a great addition, and I hope that you keep those no matter what. Rubrics can also be used in traditional grading systems. In other words, a 100-point percentage scale that then gets translated into the traditional 4-point letter grade system. Many of my professors in graduate school use rubrics and percentage-based grades. They're wonderful. Rubrics with a higher range of possible points, which are then converted into an overall percentage grade, have several advantages. For example, like the current grading system, grading is standardized, and so expectations are clear. So these are all things that are in common with the new system. The assessment categories are broken down for useful feedback. There can still be policies about dropping the lowest score, allowing a certain number of retakes, et cetera, to keep students from getting discouraged if they get a bad score early in the trimester. But unlike the current system, a student can see incremental improvement reflected in their score. People are used to percentages, and so it's more intuitive for everyone to understand. So like all the categories together get put into a percentage, and you can overall see how you're doing while also breaking it down. This is just one suggestion, and I know there might be other better suggestions, but I'm just trying to be constructive about how we might be able to reach the same goals without as much confusion. I really do appreciate all that you do, and thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to move on to information and discussion, and we'll start with Marlene Carroll for Division 22 Standards Assurances Report.
All right. Okay, so I'm going to start with sharing our Division 22 assurances. Just as a reminder, this is for last year, not this year. And I'll walk you through these. At any point, you can interrupt. Most of you are fairly familiar with this as well. Okay, so what are the Division 22 standards? The name can be kind of abstract, and it can be a little confusing if you're not familiar. Essentially, these are all the rules adopted by the State Board of Education, and they go into Chapter 581, that is ours, and which is Oregon Department of Education's agency number, so it's their rules. And those are the rules in which we follow. There are 26 divisions within the chapter that the rules can be assigned to. And really what Division 22 does is it becomes the standards for elementary and secondary education. And those are like our compliance standards, and these are standards that as a school district, it is our job to adhere to them. And the way to kind of think about this is all school districts in the state of Oregon should kind of have a baseline of education or a floor, a minimum, and that's what Division 22 is. You can go above that, but you can't go below that. Okay. Here's kind of a snapshot of what these rules are and the different components. So there's teaching and learning, and from curriculum and instruction, that's our assessment and reporting, rule. We have like health and safety. That's when we're going to see our policy and practices. Maybe some of our plans around mental health, like the suicide prevention plan. Recently, we had an update to our sports concussions. That's all part of Division 22 under health and safety. Then we have district performance and accountability, and then human resources and staffing. And so that makes up all of our Division 22. And there are over 50 rules. These are just some of them. Okay. Essentially, the Division 22 standards is kind of like a partnership between local accountability and state accountability. So our school board is our local accountability, and our job is we have to report to you on if we're following these or not following these. And then the other component of local accountability is making this report available to the public. And so we report on this and we post it to our website. And then at the same time, there's a state accountability component. And what that looks like is we attest that we're following these assurances to the state of Oregon every year. So there's kind of both local and state accountability here. Okay, so what happens when a district isn't in compliance? Essentially, ODE reviews our report and then they'll either approve it or accept it after. If the plan is not approved as submitted, then ODE will contact us and they'll provide us some technical assistance, which we kind of talked about in our work session. Maybe they'll provide us a little coaching support as needed to try to get us into compliance. We have had to do that in the past when we were out of compliance. Then you go into corrective action and we get that completed. So this year, last year we were in corrective action for PE at the elementary level, but we redid our schedule and that was our first year of implementing it. So we're out of corrective action, for example, this year, which is really exciting. And then if a district does fail to come back into compliance after the opportunity for corrective action, then ODE may withhold a portion of our funds, which is important to know. All right. So here's our report for this year. So this is our report for this year, and there were some waivers that happened. One of them is around assessment of essential skills. So that was waived in 23-24, and it will continue to be waived all the way until 27-28. We had some rule revisions that we had to, that took effect. One of them was planning a K-12 instructional program for social emotional learning and a Plan 9-12 instructional program for personal finance education and career path standards. We also had a rule revision around modified diploma, extended diploma, and certificate of attendance. Those were, you all passed that in board policy update last spring, you may remember. And then our substance use prevention and intervention plan now includes opioid prevention education lessons. So last year, our students were taught about fentanyl. We had been doing some of that work for years now, but it is a part of our health plan and therefore are part of our ODE opioid prevention education lessons for middle school and high school students. Yep. Okay. I didn't know that was like a moving one. Animated, thank you. Oh, it's exciting. All right, so it's good to note that for last year, we are finally in compliance of all standards. This is the first time that's happened, probably in at least a decade, I'm assuming, maybe longer, I don't know. So that's a really great accomplishment for the school district. We're meeting in all instructional material adoption timelines, which I know has been a goal of the district. And so that's wonderful. We're meeting in the revised rules, and we are now meeting in PE, which has been really hard for us to get to with staffing and funding and providing the kids the minutes that they need. So we're proud of that work. All right, I do want to share some of the new rules that are coming. This is what the Teaching and Learning Department and Amanda's team will be working on. So we have our educational equity advisory committees. We have had a district equity committee for 4 years now. And so we will continue to operate with that committee. So, but this is the first year that districts our size have to have one in place. So we've already hit that target, which is great. And then we have the administration of state assessments. We added the SEED survey, which is a kind of belonging and kind of how students are experiencing school survey to our state assessment. And so students take that each year. And then with that, that's required, but our students took it for the first time 2 years ago. So we are a little bit ahead of the game there as well. And then finally, this one's in that HR section of the Division 22, and that's educational leadership and administrator standards. And so the standards have been updated, which means we will update ours to follow suit. As you can see, districts must align their evaluations to the updated standards by September 30th, 2027. So we do have time on this one. Questions about Division 22?
No questions, just a comment. We've been talking about PE instructional minutes for a long time. And it's really nice to see that we finally got there. So good work, everybody.
Yeah. Hopefully we won't have to talk about it. I know, I was gonna say the same thing. This is a very, very clean, easy to follow report compared to when I started on the board 5 years ago. And it was like very long to go through all the things and where we were working to become compliant. It's just drastically different. So I know there's a ton of work that went into that. And I too absolutely love the PE. It may not have been the most important one, but it's one that you hear from kids that they just absolutely love having PE more. So thank you for doing that.
I agree.
We ready to move on? Okay, we're going to move on to Integrated Programs Annual Report.
All right. So this is also for last year, but we are required to update you all on what our Integrated Programs Annual Report, what we submitted to the state of Oregon. So each quarter, we report on things like our expenditures, our narrative reflection questions, our progress markers, and then every year we also submit a report. And in this report, you'll see, and in the slide deck, you'll see our actual answers, our narrative questions answered by us and what we submitted essentially. That's a very long way to say that. Okay, just a reminder, there are 7 distinct performance measures and processes used for the implementation of integrated programs and our different program performance measures. So we have our growth targets, we have our high school eligibility requirements, we have our CTE Perkins performance targets, progress markers and local optional metrics, which we have one this year in our strategic plan around 8th grade math. And then there's financial reporting and performance reviews. All right, let's just jump to our annual report requirements. So we're required by statute to review our progress on an annual basis through an annual progress report and financial audit, and present our annual report to the school board at an open meeting with opportunity for public comment, and then post our report to the district or charter school website. And then in a 2-year biennium, we review actual metric rates compared to previously created LPGT and share reflections on our progress. So that's kind of what I'm going to talk about here. This is pretty lengthy because it is our narrative in here. So I'll let you read that on your own, but I do want to highlight the metrics and where we are. So our year goal for 24-25 around early literacy, which is 3rd grade language arts, was 64.1%. And so we met that goal. Our actual outcome data was 66.4%. And therefore, we also met our stretch target goal. Our stretch target goal was 63.6%. So we're happy about those 3rd grade language arts scores. We believe that, you know, a lot of the work that we're doing around early literacy, assessment practices, and our instruction is contributing to those high scores. And our hope is that we continue to see those rise. If you remember, we are going to be investing in high dosage tutoring this year, or high dosage instruction, which is essentially like high dosage tutoring. That's where we are working with students during the school day who are not on track for their literacy and pulling small groups in a high dosage setting. They get multiple opportunities throughout the week to get that instruction. And we're really hoping to see our scores increase even more with some of that real targeted intentional intervention.
Can I ask you a quick question? Yes. Maybe it's in this long narrative, but
It might be.
if this is your goal, 64.1, would your stretch be not bigger than your actual goal?
Oh, our goal. Oh, that's
Is that what it's
misprint.
intended to mean? Like, this is our goal, but we'd hope to get this far. You know what I mean? Am I wrong about that?
No, I think that's a misprint. I'll
You
have
think
to
they're
tell
flipped?
you what our stretch is. Yeah, they're flipped.
Okay. I just wondered if I didn't know what a stretch goal was. Okay.
You
Thank
are
you.
right.
Thank you.
You are right. I do know we met our stretch goal, but but I will get the right one. All right. Good catch. Okay. So our annual report narrative 2 is what are some barriers and challenges that we face? We have to report on those in a narrative format. And so we're looking at some of, over the past year, we've made some progress towards this outcome, but we're still working on refining these systems and making them better. So we have a bunch of different components here, from grading systems and really aligning that to proficiency, looking at what students can and can't do, to high quality standards aligned curriculum, getting that high quality instructional materials in front of our students that are culturally responsive. Supporting tiered systems of mental and behavioral health. So that is getting those, expanding our tiered support to students, our mental health specialists that are funded through this grant programs. Restorative practices and social skills learning, that's part of the Division 22 adoption of those social emotional learning targets, and how we are aligning those K-12 and using and shifting some of those practices, our college and career connections, and then our academic success center remains pretty important and vital to our high school students, especially when they're not on track. This gives them the space to get back on track with some pretty outstanding educators to support them along the way. All right. So this is continued, which I talked a little bit about this, but One of our biggest challenges that we're facing right now is getting students to take the state assessment, especially at our secondary level. So one of the things that we're looking at is how do we look at participation differently, and what can we do to support students and families so that they have confidence in the assessment system, particularly at the high school level where we saw a decrease in scores last year. Are there any structural barriers? We're looking at those, maybe that limit participation. And then is this an anomaly? We generally have fairly good participation rates. We don't want it to continue to happen over and over, right? So maybe it's an anomaly this year, but if it continues to happen next year, it's no longer an anomaly, it's a pattern. And so we're looking at that. Maybe we can incentivize it with offering student cords if you take the assessment. And so we're really looking for all different ideas, but it has been a barrier to us, and it does impact what we report to the state. So it's important that you all know. Okay, and our third report narrative is around review of actual metric rates. And you'll see here that that we have some with official data and we have some with no official data. And the reason why is those ones with no official data gets released in around January. So it's a little bit of a lagging data marker. You'll also see that I think I printed it right here on the language, the early literacy scores. So I do have the answer there of 63.7 in 23-24, and then we made it to 66.4%. And then really focusing on those tier 2, tier 3 interventions, timely and targeted evidence-based supports so that our students continue to grow and that we're able to support our students who maybe are not at grade level yet. That continues, and I'll let you read that independently. All right, the final thing that we share with our board as a part of this report is we actually have a bunch of different progress markers, and I put some of them in here. So we have to the left side is the rubric that they provide us of the goal that we are trying to make progress on. And then on the right is kind of where we score ourselves each quarter. So we do this with quite a few progress markers. And so you can see that in some areas we are maintaining our growth. We're not slipping in any area. In other areas we're making some traction. So our 9th grade course scheduling as it relates to on track is our high school really worked to try to stack some classes to support 9th graders this year. And really ensure that our students who are multilingual learners are enrolled in the appropriate courses. We offered the seal of biliteracy, and we offered the STAMP test for language acquisition, which was different. And those students get credit for learning and for knowing a different language. They get their language credit. So they don't have to take Spanish over again if they're a fluent Spanish speaker. And that is one way we have kind of made some progress towards this progress marker. And we do that for all of them. Any questions on this?
Can I clarify? Did you say we're new to stamp testing here, or okay?
Yes,
That's fine.
last year was our first year of offering the STAMP test and the seal of biliteracy. And we had 5 students, I believe 5, gain the seal of biliteracy, and 1 student the seal of multilingual students. So they had 3 languages essentially.
When we add stamp testing, is that kind of a natural trend to want to add more second language besides Spanish at some point? Or is it just a perk of knowing a second language? I mean, does it one kind of benefit the other in the trend of like more second language?
I think as a system, we want to add more languages. And the challenges that we face is really around funding, added programs. So it is kind of a benefit of knowing and honoring that second language that a student maybe brings to school with them. But, you know, I think adding more languages aligns with our philosophy and our values around supporting students as they navigate the world, and they're self-reliant learners, right? And they have the agency to navigate the world. The more languages and the more you're able to interact with other cultures. And we all know the world is much smaller than it used to be, and it's continuing to be so. And so yes, we want to, and we're kind of restricted by funds. Yeah.
Story of our life, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's
I know.
so many things we want to
Yeah.
add.
There, I know I've got a kiddo who's in Spanish now, but who would love to learn French as well.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, that would be great.
Agreed.
One question I do have is, since in this report, we're talking about aligning our grading system, and clearly we've had a lot of emails this week from parents and talked to tons of parents at the conferences and things like that. So it'd be nice if the district, since the school board doesn't choose the grading system and make those decisions, if you guys could maybe address some of the things that we're looking at in the next couple of weeks to like wrap our heads around some of that feedback. So that people that are listening can understand. I know you've connected with a lot of people too, but it still feels like I've had a lot of people reach out to me. And so maybe you guys can address that for people listening. Either one of you.
Yes.
Either one of you.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I think specifically, we are looking to support how kids starting with kids are experiencing the implementation of the grading system and how can they speak about it. And so we've been getting feedback from parents, and we're also going to be getting feedback from our administrators and then all of our teachers at the high school, and then holding student listening sessions as well to hear directly from our students to hear directly from them about what is making sense, what isn't making sense, and to get direct feedback from them. And then we are able to take all that data together and kind of make a great plan forward. And so we're excited about getting that direct feedback from, especially our kids and our staff related to this. And we also have been in a lot of contact with parents as well, and have talked to a number of our students and staff already, but this is it's going to be good in a more formalized way for them to be able to share and give us direct feedback, and then let us kind of go back and talk about next steps to support them moving forward, because we do have the shared goals and intentions of clarity and excitement for learning. We want that for our kids.
Yeah.
So.
Also, we did share, I'm sure we shared it in a board meeting, but last year we did do a survey with staff and with all of our secondary, all high school. Middle school didn't do it, I think, just high school. Did middle school do it too? Anyways, we did do a survey with all of our students. Almost all of our students took it. We encouraged as many staff as possible to take it. And we did review that feedback. It wasn't as specific as some of the feedback we've received recently. At least I didn't feel like it was. I know some things have changed a little bit from last year as well. But just to put that out there, I know people have said, like, why don't you ask your staff, why don't you ask your kids? And we actually did do that. So I'm hoping that we're able to make better sense out of the feedback we're getting now, and maybe that helps support the changes moving forward. But just so people know, we did take an opportunity to do that last year as well.
I just want to also clarify that a lot of people do come to board members, obviously, with their concerns. That's what we're here for. But one thing that people may be confused about is we don't have a say in grading policies like we do curriculum. And I know that kind of surprises people sometimes. But we are hearing everything you're saying. It's just that there is nowhere for us to vote on this particular question. It doesn't happen very often in the district to start with. You don't change your grading policy very often. But I just want to put it out there that please continue to give your feedback to the district. you can come to us, but we're just gonna turn around and say, please provide your feedback to the district, because there's only so much that we can pass along. And then if they keep hearing it just from the 5 of us, it doesn't, it's better when it's coming directly from parents. As you should, as anyone should be able to give feedback in the district to their school district. So just to clarify on that.
One, on the question of state assessments and state assessment participation, I wonder if we could help people to better understand how we use that data and the importance of like getting good measurements of what students are learning and where students are at. Just to try, and I think some incentives would be great also. I'm sure I was not the best state assessment taker back in the day, but just to try to emphasize to people, this is our chance to understand what's working and what's not working. And yeah, like nobody likes to take tests, but emphasizing why it's important.
With the opt-out rule, I think what they've seen statewide and what we've experienced is that it's very difficult without an incentive for high school students. And that's where we saw a significant decrease in our participation number at our high school last year. And so we're in on trying to be creative and think about letting people know the why and what we use it for, but also knowing that there may need to be some incentives while there's still a state option of opting out of that.
I think it just goes without saying. I think there's just more testing in general than when we were in school. Back in the day, it was like if you didn't take your Scantron state test seriously, you were just making faces on the bubbles. So my point is that I just think there's more tests now in this time, and kids either deem them important or not important. And so I think finding a way to make them all important and have a meaning and helping them understand that there is a reason for it will be helpful for everybody going forward. So. Okay, moving on. Brady Struts, facilities project updates.
Thank you so much. Cool. I just have 2 projects I want to update everybody on. I want to touch base on the lighting efficiency project. So there was a state law a few years back called HB 2511 that mandated all schools have to replace their indoor lighting with high efficiency indoor lighting, and they have to do it by 2025. And so we worked really hard to come up with a plan, identify funding sources, and we came up with one in 2025. And when we came up with it, the state passed a new law that said you now have until 2030 to meet this, which was great. They were listening to feedback from schools who said, hey, it's really hard for us to do this in this timeline. The state also said you could no longer sell certain types of lighting in Oregon, and so it became hard to source them. We now have 5 extra years to do this, and we've adjusted our timeline accordingly. One of the big challenges in all this has been the supply chain strain with all of the school districts and a lot of other government entities trying to meet this requirement in the state. We're all battling for a lot of the same resources. And so while it's been great that we engaged with the consultants and identified how we could do this, we narrowed our scope to what we could actually do and work with our suppliers and our labor to get installed. And so we have narrowed it down to 2 schools right now. And we're in progress at Sherwood Middle School, and Middleton Elementary is on deck. And we're pushing really hard. We're working really hard with our suppliers to meet our timelines, and we're really excited to wrap up both of those projects this year. Our next 3 schools we have until 2030 to do, and it's been great for us to, with this added flexibility, take a look at with Gary sort of all of the capital projects that our priorities and that we absolutely have to do in order to keep our schools running and functioning comfortably. And then prioritize these lighting projects accordingly, knowing that we have now until 2030 to do that. So our biggest school on the list is in progress, and we have another school that we're going to tackle as well. And then we'll move on to the other three in the next 5 years. And we're excited about it and we're thrilled about it. And again, we're able to fund this through outside credits and rebates. And we're super excited that we've been able to, again, this planning happened last year and we're seeing the fruition of it. We've got some well-lit corridors and gymnasiums and classrooms and learning spaces. And we're starting to incur that energy savings back on the general budget. And so non-general budget dollars are helping us save money on the general budget. So we're excited about that.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Do you see any rebates and credits going forward in the next 5 years that are going to come out for the remaining schools? And
We are really hopeful of that. I think what the state heard and reacted to was schools saying, hey, even if we could get it, we can't pay for it. And so they know there's this big need for schools to have a funding source for this. We're really excited to see between Senate Bill 1149, which incentivizes this work and gives schools credit back for doing it, between the Energy Trust of Oregon and that rebate system. We're hopeful that either they continue to invest in these at a rate that earmarks funds for these projects, or there's a new grant source available to all school districts that allows us to prioritize this work.
great, thank you.
Thank you for the assist, Danny. Cool. Another project I just wanted to announce the completion of. We're really excited about our new vestibule intercom systems that we have in all buildings and the district office. I gave you a nice little photo of what one looks like. These are in all of our entry vestibules. We were able to start the year with all of these functioning in all of our schools. We're so excited about this added layer of security and about your support for this project. I want to shout out our community of learners. You know, that's part of our vision statement, is that we're a community of learners, and our community has been so great. All of our visitors have been so great at adapting to this. And our front office staff too deserves a shout out. They've all been trained on these and how to use them, and they have done such a good job in picking it up and having this extra safety tool, but also using it in a way that still maintains that warm, welcoming environment that we cherish at all of our schools and all of our buildings. So we've got them in all places. This is what they look like, and thank you so much for supporting this project.
I just want to really give a shout out about these. These are very much the norm now in every school you go into in any district. And I'm really pleased with how we were able to get these installed so fast over the summer, and then have our office staff come together and be trained on procedures and policy and all sorts of crazy scenarios that you hoped you don't have to think about, but you do. And then also it's just like a doorbell, and parents still feel welcome. It's still, this is an added layer that kind of fits best of both worlds, where you can still get in to visit your child's school, but also it's a layer of protection that I think is really needed, and I'm very appreciative of it. And I'm just really pleased with how fast you were able to get this done, Brady. So kudos to you.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to the enrollment update with Gary Bennett.
What you've all been waiting for. So, all in all, there's good news to report on the enrollment front. Our kindergarten numbers are better than we expected, even though there was some low birth numbers, and I'll go into that. We had some pretty good numbers there. Our cohort growth rates are strong, and we're tracking reasonably close to last year, even though we expected a decrease. And so, all in all, I'd say it's good news. When we take a look at the numbers, it's better than anticipated. And we'll start with the kindergarten number, and you can see that in 24-25, we had 242 kids in our kindergarten class. This year we have 232 kids in our kindergarten class. While that is down, in 2019 we had 243 births in 97140, And 5 years later, we had 242 kindergartners, so roughly the same number. In 2020, we had 182 births in 97140 and 232 kindergartners. So that makes a huge difference where we have more than we anticipated. So that's good on a couple fronts. One, it's good for funding, obviously, because that 50 kid difference between those two birth rates, if you multiply that times $11,000 a student, that's $500,000 a year. Then you multiply that times 13 years, you're talking significant money over time. At least as important as that is bubble classes, either small or large, create some programmatic challenges as they move through schools. And so that's a big thing, having that kindergarten number where it is. That's a really good thing. Our challenge remains, though, when you see this kindergarten class coming in of 232 students. Shooting my water bottle with a laser pointer does not help. And 409 seniors exiting, you start at a deficit every year that's pretty significant. We've talked about this before, but that's what the deficit looks like this year. So there's 177 difference between our outgoing senior class and our incoming kindergarten class, yet only 20 difference in kids between this year and last year. And the reason for that, I had that set up too. There we go. The reason for that is our cohort growth. And you can see that we are adding kids at virtually every grade level. It's common to see kids move in high school to move on to online options or something like that. That's why you're probably seeing that drop. High schools do just tend to drop kids over their 4-year period of time. But you can see that at every other grade level, we're adding significant kids. And this is really good news for us. Even with decreasing birth rates, we're attracting enough new families to fill those seats. Our birth rates go up a little bit next year, which hopefully means good numbers for our kindergarten, and hopefully we've hit the bottom and we'll start on our way back up. The fact that we're pretty close to last year in our budget numbers is really good, because remember that our budget is based on either the higher of this year's number or the prior year's number. And so when we have a good return this year, we set a good floor for next year. If our budget, if we grow, great, but if we don't unexpectedly grow, then we have our floor is about where it is now, which is really good news also. So all in all, I would think that's great news. When you combine this growth rate we're seeing now with homes in Brookman and Sherwood West coming online down the road, and the building we're seeing in Sherwood East, no one has a crystal ball and knows exactly what will happen, but things look pretty positive on the enrollment front. So all in all, I would say pleased with this. Even though we're down 20 kids, we expected to be down more than that. So that's good. On one other note, I will come back in November with a more detailed financial update. We're currently under audit. Our audit started this week, but preliminarily it appears that we will end last year and therefore begin this year with about $600,000 more than we budgeted. So that's good news. I was conservative in the number I picked by, I thought, about $300,000, but it turns out we went the right way. Could have gone $300,000 either way, and it went the right way. So that's good news. That's great news. We're starting with some more money in the general fund that we budgeted. That's always helpful. And I'll come back when I have another month of data for a solid forecast for next year. Pretty hard to make a solid forecast when you've spent 1/12 of your money, essentially, which is where we are. And 2 months of data makes a big difference in what that looks like. So I'll come back next month and give you an update on that. Any questions? Sorry.
Do you know how many total kids we've had transfer out of our district this year? We released the 10, right? But then do we have how many do we know how many on top of that?
I don't know.
Okay.
I know
We
the
can
10, but
email you
I just was
the
curious.
amount. Yeah.
But surely that helped, only transferring out 10 versus like 30.
yes, that certainly helped. And what's hard to know is how many students left the district who would have transferred. That's a hard number to know.
Right, who moved or
Who moved or did, whatever who moved.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
But certainly you have the number of the 10 that went out with our guideline, but then hardship on top of it is a whole separate number aside from people who just moved. Okay, great. Okay, thank you. Moving, you got something to say? Okay.
Moving on to action items, we have policy updates for our second read, and that's the exec team.
Yeah, this is just, we presented last month, the policies, and this is just where we're coming to seek for adoption of the policies for the second read.
Is there a motion?
I motion that we adopt the board policy updates as presented.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second?
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries 5-0. The next board meeting of the board will be November 17th.